same journey that it is with like a lot of films.
Sure.
You know, you have the idea at one point, and then, you know, a few months go down the road or a year, and then you let me flesh out that idea, and then like some more time passes, and that's just kind of how it was with this one. A lot of the ideas that I have for movies, I have while I'm shooting another film, you know what I mean? So this one, I was shooting a film in Hawaii to double for somewhere else, and I was like, man, there's gotta be something we can shoot here to take advantage of all the, you know. And then I just started thinking of, you know, just all the types of movies that I like that inspired me, like when I was a kid, you know. So I was like, I love shipwreck movies, you know. I love Swiss Family Robinson, which has cannibals in it, by the way.
Yeah.
I went back and watched it, and I was like, wait, you fucking cannibals? Am I stealing
They were
Swiss Family
Asian
Robinson?
too, by the way.
No, they're not. No, they're not, because that was back in the day. There was like a guy that they put the makeup on him, so he'd have like the. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, so yeah, I was just looking at like, you know, the location and all the inspirations, and then it just kind of happened from there. And I wrote the script. I was in Belgium producing Mandy, and before we had to shoot, the director and I were there, and the lead actor had broke his ankle on the film right before ours, and so we had to push. So I was in Belgium, and the director said, well, I'm gonna go home to Vancouver, and I said, I'm gonna go to Japan and go on a hike and write that script I've been thinking about. And 2 weeks later, I had the script, and then it took all these years to get it done.
Well, that concept of page to screen is always of interest to our crowd. Like, was it a boulder pushing it uphill? Like what? And I'm curious from your perspective too, Alan.
Well, I mean, even prior to Page, I'm sure you remember, it was concept, idea. And that was where if I remember correctly, where the 10-year mark started. Like even before Mandy, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, the concept, I mean, back then it was, Josh was like, hey, I got this idea. I could tell it to you in like 30 seconds. And we should put together like 50 grand, go to Hawaii, and just pull all our favors, get everyone in, and go do it. And I was in, because it was a great concept. That's just.
We didn't do it for 50,000.
No. That would have been awesome. Maybe kind of would have sucked, but.
Costumes.
No, it's so, yeah. I feel like it was always pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? It was always like, I had the idea, I wanted to do a silent film, like a mostly silent film. I was interested in seeing an action film that was mostly a silent film. And I was also feeling a little bored with like a lot of the modern action films that are, I mean, I love them all, I love the genre, but I just felt like, I was like, oh, I want to do something different here. Maybe taps into, you know, some skills that I have that maybe another filmmaker doesn't have, you know what I mean? So, and sensibilities, so.
Nothing like that. Just more like.
Just like curious about your Indonesia connection and those guys on board.
That was the last piece of the puzzle to happen, actually, because like for years, you know, I was kind of focused on getting the film made myself, and Wellgo had signed on back before COVID, actually. They were, to their credit, like they signed on and stayed aboard for all the years until we actually made it. And they would actually email me and be like, are we ever gonna make that samurai film? And I was like, oh yeah. You know, and then Alan was one of the first people that I ever told about the idea, but he also has a life and what a company and is producing things, so it was kind of like let me know like when we can actually engage on this thing. And it wasn't until years later. And I live in Portugal now. I was doing some research on whether I could shoot this maybe in the Azores, or if I could shoot it in the Canary Islands in Spain. And I was doing all these budgets and mock-ups and started looking into Malaysia. And then I called Alan and I was like, look, I think I'm ready to do Alone. And he's like, I just met the whole gang, and like he had just connected with Eco Uwais, the whole Uwais team. And he's like, if you don't shoot in Malaysia and we want to shoot it in Indonesia, I think we can do it with the entire team from the Raid films. And I was like, well, I think we should try to go to Indonesia then. Make that work. You know? And that's what took us there. But you know, I kept telling them, the whole team, they were great. And that all of the cannibals, like all of them, are members of the Uwe stunt team. Like all of them. Like they're all the same players from the Raid films. And it was pretty special. But we also had said, like, look, this is supposed to be a fictional tribe of people with a fictional language, so they can't have some martial art that we've seen before in a film. They can't do like Silat or something like that. I was like, so they have to have a fighting style that you guys come up with that we haven't seen before. So I think it felt like one of the exciting things for them was, you know, they're typically known for like a specific type of action. And I was like, I'm not gonna do it that way. And even if we shoot the previous videos in a certain way, I'm probably not gonna shoot it like that when we're on set, because I'm really trying to get away from things that I've seen before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind being influenced, but I didn't want to do anything that felt like derivative. So we were always kind of, like all of us kind of keeping each other in check, like, you know, is that cool enough? Is that like, have we seen this before? And it was with the choreography, it was with a lot of stuff. You know?
Beyond the choreography, just, you know, even the language. Not wanting to, you know, we're trying to not specify a cannibal race if we're not trying to define by race in the first place. But just the language, the spoken language, Josh spent a lot of time creating. He actually manifested all the dialogue.
That was when when I was, originally it was like, we're gonna get a linguist. We'll get a linguist. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to do this myself.
Josh and this guy called GPT.
Yeah.
And, just a lot of back and forth between combining a lot of different lingual codes and manifesting something that was not to be identified by any particular dialect, race, language.
Well, we didn't want anyone to get offended. You know what I mean? I knew we had a lot of conversations about this because it was like, okay, this is a Japanese guy, and like within like a lot of like Asian cultures, you know, I think that like Japan was fairly oppressive for like a lot of years. So I didn't want to. I wasn't trying to make any type of political, like no comment on, you know, anything like that. So like first and foremost, it's a fantasy. Like the film is a fantasy, you know what I mean? And so tried to tread, not lightly, tread pretty heavily actually. What else?
Sweet. I think let's get some audience questions going here. I'll let you there.
I was wondering, was the video game Ghost of Tsushima any kind of an influence at all? Because like I couldn't help myself when he was going up with we're all sitting here like, what's he gonna do with the freaking wood? And then he makes, you know, the Tony Gates on the top of this mountain, and he's about to do his thing. I was all like, I played the game an obscene amount of times, so I was like, oh, that kind of reminded me of that.
I've never played the game once.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't
want to, but
I'm not a gamer. But I knew that I was gonna be. It's like there's no way that I could have anticipated 10 years ago when I kind of came up with this, that like Shogun, the series, would have just come out.
That's right.
And like, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's in the zeitgeist right
That
now.
was a great moment though, because for me, he was like, what is he making? Is he gonna make a cabin? And then when the last piece, like when he was carrying it up, I was like, oh shit,
Makes you
he's
so
making one of
happy
those.
that you
That was
said
amazing.
that.
That was amazing.
That's exact- that- it means it works.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Where you live.
Good.
All right, yeah, sure.
I like the professional courtesy between the samurai and the Komodo dragon. Was there, because they're both quiet killers. Was there ever going to be a scene where he came back to help him?
I mean, yes. I mean, I wanted it to be originally.
Oh, originally.
Oh, it's so small in here.
I wanted it to be that this is a guy who has been just kind of no respect for life anymore, and he's just a killer. He's got nothing to live for, and he doesn't respect like life itself, and you kind of see that early on. And so I saw the thing of him kind of putting his sword aside and bowing as like, he's kind of surrendering a little bit more. He's not gonna fight everything. And that the lizard is like, you're a good guy. I'm gonna let you skate up. But yeah, then they kind of reunite later in the same location, which I wanted to be like, the shot above in like Jurassic Park where you see the velociraptors going through the grass. And you're like, oh my God, they're gonna get up. It was gonna be something like that. That's not what we did, but.
But in general, like, you're at the mercy of the talent and the handler, like, relatively speaking.
This is true.
No, and we had no idea which way it could go. Like, and Josh had scenarios in case, it's kind of like, you set pathways, you do different things, like, there's the anticipation of what it's supposed to be. And Komodos are native to just Komodo Island. So, where we were, there's like, it's a whole thing to get the right kind of lizard that's the same size, or in actual Komodo imported. It was a whole
Komodos, you cannot train Komodo dragons. by the way, that's not a Komodo, that's a monitor lizard.
It's a monitor.
No, you don't. I need it for my film, my vision.
It's like, you guys can go shoot on the island of Komodo, but then we're not going with you, and
They brought that lizard, it was like huge. That lizard was very big, and I was like, fine, whatever. He's like this huge, he's amazing.
But he's a method actor, and he's all about engaging in the scene, blah, blah, blah.
Very hard to control.
Oh, yeah.
You were there.
Yeah, I was wondering about you were mentioning that we tried to be original, right? I mean, today we've seen Cannibal Holocaust, well, that one, and 10 years ago, actually, Golden Tomahawk came out. So I'm wondering, what was your process when you developed that story to have like an own language, to give your own spin?
Well, in the script, and when people would read it, it was always in 2 parts, but it said on the front of the script, like, note, there will be no subtitles for the cannibals. I didn't want there to be you have to for distributors, but like I wanted the audience to kind of experience the same thing that he was, which is you just kind of intuit what they're saying just by their physicality and their but what was there was like kind of a few things in there that you asked. You asked about the language.
I mean, in general, your process when you develop the story to have like your own visual or like directing style.
Well, my directing style.
I
Let me tell you about my directing style. Like I said, this is a little deeper question. I directed 3 films before this one. This is my 4th film. And in between and while I was doing that, I was also producing a lot of stuff, right? And what I learned on the 3 films that I directed prior to this was that I needed a really good producer for myself as a director. Because I tended to put myself like out there, you know, like I'm a tough guy. I can handle it. You know, like oh, bring it on. But like directors shouldn't have to handle everything. You know what I mean? It limits a filmmaker's ability to kind of get the job done if you're also having to deal with like budgetary issues and kind of all this. So like there was a good amount of time that I consciously was not directing and focused on producing until I was ready to get back in the seat. But I also had decided that the next thing that I directed was going to be something that I wrote. Because I'd done the stories and stuff for like other things that I directed, but I hadn't written the full script. So I was like, it's going to be something I just want the film to feel like me. Like it's like something that like Josh wants to watch. It like checks all the boxes for Josh. And I'm just gonna like pray to God that like my taste isn't so fucking weird that like nobody else wants to watch it. You know what I mean? So I kind of went through like a laundry list of like I was saying to you, like just films that inspired me. Like probably my biggest inspiration is The Black Stallion. Like I pulled, like there's specific shots from this that are like straight. The scene with the lizard is very similar to the scene with the snake, with the cobra and the Black Stallion. You know what I mean? Where, and so like I'm pulling from there, a lot of like childhood stuff, like I love Westerns. You know, our whole thing on set, we'd say like, and we'd say like, Lone, it's not a Western, it's an Eastern. You know? but saying like, it's not a Western, it's an Eastern, we kind of gave us it was like a barometer while we were shooting. In fact, all of our monitors on the side of the camera and stuff were tuned to black and white while we were shooting. Like the black and white version of this film is like, but yeah, I was just really pulling from like everywhere, all of my different inspirations, and Japan has been like a country and a culture and people that I've just been like fascinated with, and since I was 8 years old, I was in 3rd grade and I needed to do a report on another country, and I chose Japan because I saw the image of a torii gate on a lake. And the image of that torii gate like stuck with me so dramatically that like that it made it in here, you know what I mean? But like I think that I was like, oh, I want to do something in the world of like samurai cinema, but like I don't want this to be like that I'm, you know, culturally, you know, appropriating. Like it's not gonna, I don't want it to be like a white guy who's it's not The Last Samurai. You know what I mean? If it's like, if I'm gonna do this, I want to do this right. I want to surround myself with people who know more than me, who are gonna, because you gotta be careful nowadays. And I just felt like I wanted to do something that was kind of just like, you could just plop it right into the mix with the other films. And it kind of stands out on its own, but it also blends in with everything else. in a good way, not in a forgettable way.
I just have to ask real quick, show of hands, who has seen The Black Stallion?
Good amount of people.
It's less than 50%.
It's a really beautiful film. It's a beautiful film. Also a film in 2 parts, basically. Any other questions? Fine.
Kevin Eastman, you thank him in the credits. Ninja Turtle creator, what did he do on this?
Oh shit.
Kevin Eastman, I think, there's a lot of people that I put in the thanks who are just friends and artists who have supported me in trying to get this movie made. And Kevin's been a friend for over 20 years, and we've always been talking about doing something, and I previously had a publishing deal with Heavy Metal
Oh, cool.
for a graphic novel that I had written. Kevin, when I first started working on this, and I sent him the script, just you know, Kevin's one of those guys where like if you go to his house, you leave with like a box of swag. Like, and you're like, I didn't need all these issues of Ninja Turtles, but like, you know, it's just like he just gives you all like all
I'm
this
wearing
stuff.
Ninja Turtle.
So Kevin's been a supporter of the project, supporter of me, and he also had hooked me up with his Japanese publishing agent, or his publisher, about potentially doing a manga of Lone Samurai.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So,
Congrats.
thanks. Yeah, yes.
As an Indonesian, thank you for featuring my people in the film. And yeah, and Yayan is a big star, of course, among the Indonesians. I just want to ask, so what's the plan? Are you gonna premiere this movie also in Jakarta? What's Welgo's plan about distributing this film?
Welgo is the North American distributor.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then internationally, you know, we have a sales rep, and we're in the process of figuring out where it goes. It's gonna have a good European premiere, which I can't announce yet, but I will announce soon. And then, yeah, we're working on trying to get it. I mean, look, it's really important to us that we show it back in Indonesia because, like, I mean, the entire crew is Indonesian. The entire cast, outside of, you know, the few Japanese actors. You know, they're all back there like cheering us on for today, and I'm like, oh man, it's the strangest like world premiere I've ever been to because like not one member of the cast is
Right.
there. So it kind of feels it's like, yeah, this is our world premiere. Well, no, you know what I mean? It's just like I'm so used to like having the actors and everything, and so it's you know.
We've been talking Jakarta, talking Yogyakarta. We've been working with a lot of the local, I say local theaters, but they're the biggest chains in the world. Jakarta or Indonesia has some of the biggest theatrical chains at this point in the world. But yeah, we're looking, and everyone out there is very excited. It's been, I just saw Yayan a couple weeks ago in Toronto. He just
The Furious.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
love that movie.
Yeah, this is Chinese action movie. But yeah, no, everyone there is super excited. UA's team, but the cast crew. I mean, it was a huge crew. It was like 170 plus crew all around.
You can't. There's not like. There's no like little indies like in Jakarta because I think labor is like in such demand that, you know, when you have like any amount of work, you know, as a community, they kind of band together to ensure that like the money is going to as many people as possible. You know what I mean? It's actually pretty cool, but it does mean that you're feeding a lot of people and stuff. It's not like, well, let's just move over there. And it's like, no.
The entire shoot was company move after company move. Like we prepped, we did all the prep pre-production in Jakarta, but every frame of the film was shot outside, remote. So it was literally
like on the top where he builds that touring gate, like that was on top of that volcano.
which is like a
It was literally
4-hour hike.
Yeah, we had to start hiking at 2:30 in the morning, and there's no cars, so you had like 100 and something crew hiking gear up the side of a volcano.
Wow.
No, and I mean, as a testament to the crew, because I'm typically not used to, like, I'm used to having like crew just like, oh yeah, that too. No, that was my second time up the mountain. First time I almost died. They were like, we can carry you the rest of the way. I was like, I'm gonna just try to crawl, like literally almost died. But different story. Like 2 a.m. call time to get up to the top of the mountain, and I'm used to like crew just like reminding me, hey, it's lunchtime, it's break time, it's call time. These guys were just such hard workers that we didn't realize that because we were pushing for the sunset, shot as well, and needing to schlep, like, I mean, we had jibs, cranes, like so much gear that was brought to the top of this mountain. That's like a normal human's 4-hour hike to get up there. That it took another X amount of time to get down. That it ended up being a ridiculous day for anyone, and not a single person complained, which is a huge testament to, yeah,
It's amazing.
everyone there. It was an amazing experience. Working with, yeah, cast, crew, everyone.
I think we got time for like one more.
Gentleman in the back waving.
How did you guys find Shogun, and what was it like working with him?
Shogun was through our other producer, Mori, and we had been moving forward. I mean, the first actor that I met with 6 years ago and had 2 meetings with was Hiroyuki Sanada, and we kind of came to a group decision that he felt like he was too old for the role. And then I aligned with another actor years later, who was a pretty gifted martial artist and hadn't really done a film and had an opportunity like this. And we were moving forward with him even while we were in prep in Indonesia. And we were talking to his reps, and he wouldn't get a COVID vaccination. Everyone was vaccinated, but he wouldn't leave Japan and get, we were like, look, I don't know what to tell you, but the lead actor can't be the only person who's not vaccinated. Like, it's gotta happen. And he wouldn't do it, so we started kind of, quick thinking, and Ko brought up Shogun, who I didn't know, and said, like, look, this guy is like, he's an Okinawan actor, and he's doing a lot of like indies, like in Japan and Okinawa, and kind of working his way up that way. So you don't know his face, because he hasn't been doing like the big, huge Japanese series and stuff like that. He's doing it the indie way, but he's like, I think you'll like him.
Not to mention, his name is Shogun.
His name is Shogun. He's like, his name is Shogun. So it's like, it's but Shogun with an E. It's not a U. And it's like, well, whatever. Like, no. And so like I met with him, and he was just like, he got the script, and importantly, just for workflow, he's very fluent in English, whereas the other actor was not at all. So we would have needed a translator and kind of all that stuff. But yeah, Shogun really got it. And the only thing that I wasn't, not concerned, but like the only thing that like he needed to work on, which he knew, and we talked about it, was that like he wasn't a martial artist and hadn't really done any like stunts and fighting before. So it was just a month of every day, 7-8 hours a day, working on training, and me kind of like pushing him to try to, he's very like, if you see him in person, he's like very clean shaven, short hair, very dapper, like in suits, and just like, and I was like trying to push out like his primal, I'd be like, come on, let me hear it, get that, that kind of stuff. Let's hear it, and then after like 2 weeks, like something just like clicked for him, and he made the choreography his own, and he started to feel really comfortable with the choreography, and then, I ended up like writing scenes in the movie based off of like the interactions with Shogun that are my favorite scenes in the film now. Like, it's not even the fight, like the scene where he's like dancing with his wife, and it's just like where it's his memory, and like that was not in the original script. That came from me having conversations with Shogun about like the choreography, and I was like, let me ask you a question. Do you know how to dance? And he was just, no, I don't. And he doesn't like. And I said to him, I was like, come on, everybody can dance. Like you just dance. And so like we ended up getting him like a movement and dance instructor as well, just so he could start to feel more comfortable moving around. You know what I mean? And watching him do one of those like dance, like little movement classes, I was watching him and I was like, oh, and that's when the scene happened. And working at it, and I'm glad I did. It's every film I feel like kind of works out the way it's supposed to work out. You know what I mean? If you have like some shitty people on your team and there's like some gaps in your communication and blah blah blah, then it's gonna turn out how it's supposed to turn out, which is maybe not so great. You know what I mean? But I feel like if everyone's heart is in the right place, if your intentions are pure and you kind of surround yourself with a strong team, you know, like, yeah, is it the film that I had originally come up with 10 years ago? No. It's the film that it is now, though. You know what I mean? And like, is Shogun the guy? Is he like fucking Bruce Lee? Like, no. But like, he's that. You know what I mean? He's impressive in his own right. You know, so I that's something that you have to learn, though. You know, because otherwise it's like, this isn't what I planned, and throw it out. You know?
Just to set the record straight, because there were some questions from the cheap seats in the back. Shogun is 100% Japanese. He's 100% Okinawan, even though he doesn't look it. But people were asking, putting it out there.
Shogun said, he said that like basically every interview he does is like he has to like answer some question about how he doesn't look Japanese enough.
Wow.
But he said not was like, he's saying even in Japan. But that was news for me because we had conversations. He's like, well, I'm from Okinawa, and you know, people from Okinawa look a lot different than mainland Japan. But I think that like culturally, like my only reference point for Okinawa was like Karate Kid. and which I know in my head, I'm like, okay, that's not a thing. Anyway, thanks for that discount.
Well, when can we see this in theaters so we can
Oh, yeah.
tell all our friends?
It'll be released December 12th through Weldo in North America, and then we'll see where it is on the other places. But yeah, if you like it, put the word out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could use the love.
We love it.
Socials.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being my